YouTubers, what's up, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Vintage Game Finders. Neesmaz07 up in the Heezy. I'm trying to bring that back, the Heezy. You know what I mean? It's not only about retro games, it's about retro life. Okay? So, throwing the deuces up, saying what's up. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. A violence-free Black Friday. Because the videos are out there and you guys are, it's not looking good. So I hope you weren't around there in the morning, because I wasn't. I'm not dealing with that shit. But anyways, yeah, pretty good week in the books this week as far as pickups go. I don't know about you guys, but in my area you're starting to notice a difference. It's not drastic, but you're noticing a difference between this year and last year as far as the pickups are concerned, price wise. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it's bittersweet because people know what they got. But at the same time, if they put it at a price that's out of their range, where they're trying to make a profit out of it, you know, in most cases, the market's going to dictate what's going to happen to that game and what's going to happen to that guy's poker face as far as him holding it for as long as he's going to hold it for that certain amount of price or a certain amount of money that he's asking for. But that's neither here or there. We're talking about right now and what I picked up right now, and I am very happy with what I picked up. I got a pretty good amount of games that I needed for the collection. One that has a unique story at the end that really sucks, but at the same time it renewed my vigor and my desire to have it in my collection that much more. So we'll get to that eventually, but let's go ahead and get the first stuff out of the way, which is what I picked up from some of my subscribers. Two individuals, in fact, that are probably watching the video now, so I like to say thank you. I appreciate you hooking it up. And those two guys are Mike and George from California. If you guys are watching, like I said, thank you. I appreciate it. It's always good talking to you guys and hanging out and making trades whenever possible. So let's go ahead and show you what I was able to get off of those two gentlemen. I was able to get from George a copy of Rival Turf for the Super Nintendo. Pretty fun beat 'em up if you haven't had the chance to play it. And for Mike, I was able to pick up a copy of Phantasy Star Online for the Sega Dreamcast. Now, there were rumors at some point that there are still individual servers that are alive and kicking for this game. And I've actually seen some videos on Facebook on the subject, and people are playing this game online still, which is pretty awesome. The Dreamcast, for all you Dreamcast haters out there, I'm sorry, but the Dreamcast lives. It's breathing. It's gonna stay alive, and if I can, I would like to keep it that way. It's a pretty awesome console. If you haven't had a chance to play the Dreamcast, or any other Sega console for that matter, do yourself a favor and do so. It's pretty awesome. Don't relegate yourself to a certain genre or a certain team per se. You know what I'm saying? You wanna diversify your portfolio. You know, just to have variety, because variety, a lot of people like to say, it's the spice of life, and I tend to agree. Okay, so I had one more Sega pickup after that, which was a pickup that I found at a flea market of all places. And I say that because for the price I got it for, I was pretty astonished that it was not picked up by somebody before I got there, because that flea market in question opened up maybe around 8, and I showed up around there like at 10:30, and it was crazy. I mean, this game, Blazing Dragons for the Sega Saturn, was in the condition that it's in, and was still there at the flea market when I got it for the price I got it for. It was amazing. I mean, the only thing that's missing is the little foam piece here that will go between the case and the game. And that's not a big deal. I mean, you go to any fabric store and you could just buy a sheet and cut it to the size you need, and boom, there you go. You got your foam buffer for your Sega Saturn games. But I'm really surprised that the case is in the condition that it's in. Because when I found it, it was in a cardboard box towards the bottom with a whole bunch of stuff right on top of it, and it still came out in pretty good shape. So I was thankful for that. So this is a game I didn't have for the collection, so I'm pretty happy that I was able to pick it up for what I picked it up for. Next, we're moving on to the Xbox portion of this week's pickups. I knew there were demos out because there were demos. There was a lot of demos out back in that time period for the PS2, PlayStation. Even for the Dreamcast. I mean, there were demos out there. Off the top of my head, you also had Sega CD as well. There were demos out there. A lot of them were featured with magazine subscriptions, but a lot of them were in the department stores. I remember myself picking up demos for the Sega Saturn and Electronics Boutique, where you buy a game and they hook you up with a free demo, or there were just demos by the register and you just take one before you left the store, and a lot of them I still have, a lot of them I gave away, but this one in particular was kind of cool because it came in a slim case, and that is a Conquer Live and Reloaded demo. And of course this was an original Xbox exclusive, so don't have the actual game, but you know, the cool thing with these demos is you can play them for a short while and just get a taste for what the game is about, and if you do like the game, you can go ahead and buy it, or maybe you could download it onto the main drive. I don't know how that works, but I have friends that do, so maybe they could tell me about it. But there's a certain rarity to this demo, and I'm trying to get more information on it. And if you have any info on it, feel free to leave it in the comment section and educate me, because I like learning stuff every day. Next, these were given to me by a family member of mine that he said he found in the trash, which is awesome. I don't discriminate when it comes to that stuff. As long as I don't have bugs and shit in my house, it's good. So I tend to clean them up before I bring them in. But yeah, these were the three that he was able to find: Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath, another original Xbox exclusive. He also found Counter-Strike. For you PC guys out there, I'm pretty sure this was a big PC game back in the day. And also a copy of Driver 3, which I played on the PS2, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the second part, but it was still alright. The only problem I had with this game was the glitching, and yeah, the glitching was horrible. Especially in the close quarters combat portions of the game. It would just, the frame rate, I felt like the frame rate would just drop, and you'd be next to a wall, and the next second you'll be right through the wall, or right under the floor, and it was just weird, you know, to have a game that you bought for $60 to do that. But yeah, I got through it, and I ended up finishing the game, and I enjoyed it. And last but not least, this was another pickup that I got from my friend Mike in California. I forgot to mention it. This one's on the Xbox 360. I don't have an Xbox 360 at the moment. I'm not looking forward to getting one because of all the red rings of death and all that stuff. I don't want to deal with that. But this is a copy of Death Smiles for the Xbox 360. And for what I'm told, this is a 2D fighter, and a pretty good one at that. So I will be finding a happy home for this eventually, because I don't see myself getting a 360 in the near future whatsoever. So I'll find a happy home for it. But again, the gesture is there, and I'm very thankful that Mike was able to hook it up with a game like that. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and slide into the Sony end of things, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what I picked up for the PS3 this week. Mostly just all PS3. A lot of these I picked up in my my local game stores. I don't want to say which one or the specific location, of course, you know, for obvious reasons. But yeah, this is what I picked up. I picked up a copy of Disney's DuckTales Remastered. I remember when this game was on the PlayStation Network, I wanted one, but I didn't want one downloaded to the system. I wanted the physical copy, and I'm very, very happy that that Capcom made that possible. So Capcom, thank you very much. Big fan as always. And this game, growing up on the NES, was just this game, and in particular Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Such great games to play. Push the graphical envelope, of course, for the console back then, and it was just, you didn't have a bad time playing this game, and if you did, it's because it was your own skill that made that possible. So, very good, awesome pickup. Next, a game that got, I like to think it was overlooked a lot because of its religious overtones and all that, but I'm not as PC as most people are nowadays, so I wasn't overly offended or anything. You just have to think. You just have to know that it's part of the game. So just play it and deal with it. And the game in question I'm talking about is El Shaddai, a session of the Metatron for the PS3. Graphically, it looks pretty awesome. I love the cell shading that's involved. And I'm really, really excited to see what the game's about, mostly. What I do know about it, I read online and in magazines. And it wasn't really that badly received. It got pretty average to good scores. So I'm pretty happy to have it in the library. Alright, the last three are fighting games, but fighting games that are, to me, unorthodox, to me, obscure, because a lot of them originate from Japan and from manga and anime and stuff, and I try to get into it, but those genres, I try to get into them, but this is so much to watch. I seem to get lost in it. So some of these I don't recognize, but I looked in the back of it, and it's right in the ballpark of what I'm looking for as far as my collection is concerned for the fighting games. And that one of those is Arcana Heart 3 Live Max. This one's a pretty good game. I recognize the series, but I don't know how many there are for the PS3. If I'm not mistaken, there's 3. And the series I'm referring to is BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. And I really like it. And I'm hoping that the gameplay is as good as the visuals. And last but not least, this game I did recognize, but I did a little bit of homework on. And it's basically putting 2 or 3 anime shows together and just making a compilation out of that as far as fighting games are concerned. So this one I'm pretty happy to have in the collection, and I'll go ahead and show you right now. It's Aquapazza Aqua Plus Dream Match. Alright, last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I picked up for the Nintendo end of this weekly video. And this is where that part in the beginning I told you about. It's coming up right now, and it kind of sucks, but I need to share the story with you guys, because I want to know if something like this has happened to you before, and if possible, you would want to share your experience with other subscribers here in the comment section. But first, let's get the other stuff I picked up out the way. For the Nintendo DS, I was able to pick up a copy of Metroid Prime Hunters First Hunt. Next, a couple of Super Nintendo games, sports games, but games I did not have in the collection, so I'm very happy to have. George Foreman's KO Boxing. Not Super Punch-Out by any means, but still entertaining game. I had this game for the NES. And for the Sega Game Gear, which I no longer collect for. But on the Sega Game Gear, it was alright. You would get maybe 3 or 4 matches in before the AI would just destroy you. But it was still entertaining for short trips. And by that third match, your battery was almost dead anyways because of the Game Gear battery life being so poor. But yeah, it's pretty good game. And the last game for the Super NES was Baseball Simulator 3000. But yeah, what I was talking about earlier, basically, we have a story about this game right here. Tatsunoko versus Capcom, Ultimate All-Stars. This game, I went to GameStop 3 times for, okay? And the first time the game was there, so I said, you know what, I'll come back the next day and pick it up, because I only had enough for another game, which I'm pretty sure was Aquapazza, which I showed you before. So I was like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow and pick it up. So I go back, I get the case, and well, I looked for the case and it wasn't there. Somebody took the case, stashed it under the little cart where they had the games, and it wasn't there. So the guy told me he sold it, but it was still in the system. So I was like, okay, it's still in the system, so it means you have it. When you have it, give me a call and I'll come and pick it up. So he gives me a call. He's like, okay, I have it. So I show up over there because I'm maybe 5-6 minutes away from the store in question. And he's like, yeah, I have it, but not the game. I just have the case and the manual. So yeah, how? This is the mystery for you detectives out there if you want to go ahead and try to solve this. How is it that the case and manual are there, but not the game? There's only maybe 1 or 2 possible outcomes for that happening, and that is the game was put back on the shelf with the case and the manual, and the guy just took the game and left the store, or one of the employees stashed the game and didn't care about the case of the manual. That's the only 2 things that I could think about there being the conclusion to this little mystery. I was pissed initially, but I felt a little better, and the employee there, I've known him for a while. He's hooked it up every now and then as far as not as far as the prices, but holding the games that I would call for and check if they had available in store. He would set them aside for me and I would just go over there and buy them. But he was really cool about it. He ended up giving me the case and the manual for free as, I guess, sort of a consolation for the little bit of ordeal that I went through. It sucks, but there's a lesson to be learned with that. And I think the lesson was, if you're able to buy 2 games that you really want, buy them right then and there, because games like this especially, they don't stay on the shelf too long in these stores. So if you could recoup the money fast enough, I would say go ahead and pick them up, even if you don't think you could afford them or you're not going to get paid until a certain day during that week. Just pick them up, because I wouldn't want something like this to happen to you. So yeah, I'm looking for that game. Haven't been able to find it at the price that I wanted at, especially loose. They're still going. They're still selling for a pretty penny, especially loose. I think it was, at the time that I checked it, between $25 and $28 loose. So that kind of sucks. But I remain vigilant, and I remain confident that I will find myself a copy of this game. Alright guys, that goes ahead and rounds out the video for this week of weekly pickups. I'd like to thank you as always for watching, for subscribing, for sharing the videos. It's all very, very, very greatly appreciated. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and with Christmas coming up, I hope you and your family enjoy that as well, and hopefully you find pretty cool stuff along the way. And as always, God bless, stay safe, and happy hunting.